go across to Puneet Ahluwalia, who also joins us at this stage. Puneet, it seems that the path open for Kamala Harris appears, to be shrinking. But if I was just to sort of look at the numbers, the percentage of votes in the swing states, there's still some room for maneuver for the Democrats. For example, in Arizona, only 50% of the votes are in. In Michigan, 59% of the votes are in. Nevada, we really don't know what's happening at this stage. Even Pennsylvania, 66% of the votes are in. And if you look at the numbers in the Democrats and Republicans, yes, the Republicans are ahead, but in most cases, it's just about 2%. So are we getting ahead of ourselves by saying, or is anybody getting ahead of themselves by saying that it's going to be Trump all the way?
Well, at least we have the Senate and the House we feel strong about. White House, yes, there is a path for President Trump. It's looking concrete as he won Georgia and North Carolina. But yes, we are optimistic because we see, and when you start looking at just the states and the counties and the success President Trump has had, and more importantly, how Kamala Harris has not been able to match the numbers of President Biden, I believe it starts to become more and more optimistic that we will win the White House. But more importantly, I believe that that tomorrow morning we should have an answer, a clear answer, and a clear win.
And do we expect Trump himself to speak, or J.D. Vance, I believe, is preparing to speak? When Vance does speak, do you expect it to be virtually an election victory speech?
Well, I believe President Trump will not give a choice to anybody to speak but himself first, because that's what President Trump is. He loves the mic and he can go on. Apparently, he was speaking till almost 2 o'clock last night campaigning. He loves to tell the people. He loves America. He loves the people, and he wants to get his message out, and he wants to thank the people who have really come out and stood by him, because he was taken down, he was shot at, he was almost assassinated. So this man truly loves the country. He's very passionate about what he believes in, and that's the reason you see a great momentum, not only in the middle America, but also in the large immigrant communities, which are really coming out and flocking and resonating his message, including the Arab Americans, the Hispanic Americans, the Black Americans. And again, if you see on Kamala Harris' side, she rejected the Catholic vote. So why she's losing in Pennsylvania, it's one of those reasons. And we've seen also the Hispanics come out in Pennsylvania, come out and support President Trump, as they did in Florida. So I think he's a phenomenon. He's a tenacious campaigner. And I think that's why we are having these victories and across. And we've seen the success of flipping the Senate. And that's going to help President Trump get the right people nominated to carry on his agenda from the last term. And you will see more peace through strength, because you will see the Abraham Accord now unfold in its true essence, what he had envisioned. More peace between Israel and Middle East countries, and more importantly, re-engaging with North Korea, and most importantly, finding a way to have peace in Ukraine and Europe. And most importantly, the European partners have to cough up more dollars for their safety and security.
Well, Puneet, on that point then, global actors noticed that the United States actually applies one standard to Russia's actions on Ukraine and another to Israel's in Gaza. In fact, many of Trump's critics, as things are looking up for him, I must also mention that many of Trump's critics have raised questions about his climate change policies, the future of NATO, whether NATO is going to be in tricky hands. Where does this all stand at the moment? How do we make sense of it?
It sounds very clear. It's very. If you see his previous administration, peace through strength, if you saw he was engaging very effectively with on the Abraham Accord with the Middle East, with the Saudis, the UAE, and the Israeli community, Israeli leadership, Netanyahu is a great partner and a friend of the United States and President Trump. I believe the proxy war, which are started and initiated by Iran, should come to a standstill. I think there'll be a way to curtail or contain Iran. And more importantly, that the freedom in Iran come across, because there are a lot of people who want a free Iran, an open Iran, because at one point Iran was a great ally of the United States. And we've seen that the the Shah of Iran, his son has stood up and said, look, I'm willing to go out and take the leadership realm, leadership of Iran. So multiple opportunities will happen under President Trump because he's strong and decisive, and he's very clear where he wants to be. And I believe we should re-engage with North Korea, and we should find a way to all work together. And I think India will play a very important role. Despite all the people talking about that he's going to double the tariff, he's going to do whatever he is going to do. But at the same time, India also has to realize that President Trump's also means bottom line, which means what is important for the United States, how does it create jobs, but how is it mutually beneficial for both nations? And I think both him and Modi have great dynamics, and I hope that translates into success for both nations.
Right, we will, of course, be patient and wait for the results to trickle in. But in terms of the other aspect, Vishnu, has been the record money that's been pumped into this election by both sides. Many say it's democracy at work, but also many say that it could also be bribing your voters and all. I want to find out where Puneet stands on this.
Well, if you saw our Kamala Harris has become the party of the rich and the elitists. You saw Oprah Winfrey, and you saw Mike Jagger, you saw Ricky Martin, all the famous, and Gaga, who was out there supporting her. And that's what the difference is. That's why President Trump is winning among the large, hardworking Americans, because now the Democratic Party is perceived as warmongers, the party of the rich and the elitist. And that's the reason why you see the LinkedIn and the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world supporting him. And whereas people who are adopted Americans, just like Musk and myself, are supporting President Trump because we believe in the American dream. So yes, money is a big part of it, of the play, but it doesn't help. It's the right message. That's what matters.